Will Liv Morgan retain the Women's World Championship against Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam? How long is that feud going to last, and will John Cena win that 17th World Championship? Welcome to the Wrestling Q&A, and let's kick things off with our first question. Do you think Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley feud should last until WrestleMania, where Liv beats Rhea and Rhea has to scratch and claw her way to the title by going through the women's division and then winning the chamber next year, very similar to how they did with Bianca and Becky from 2022? Great question to kick things off, and honestly, I feel it's a possibility. I don't think I'm the only person that's predicted this at this point, but I do think Liv Morgan is going to retain the Women's World Championship against Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam. She is avoiding Rhea at all costs. It's almost, instead of the revenge tour, it's the retreat tour right now. Rhea will look to get the revenge, and she will be the one that will be the heavy favourite going into the match. And of course, with Dominic Mysterio being at ringside, saying that Mummy is the one for him, and now that they're reunited, to turn on Rhea Ripley, to turn on Mummy at SummerSlam, feels like the right call for me. The fact that Dom gives into the temptation and goes over to the side with Liv Morgan. From that point onwards, we can really build a story on how Rhea is going to get the revenge, and we can do a lot of things on the way to a WrestleMania. Like you said, we could drag this all the way there. For starters, we could have Rhea Ripley versus Dominic Mysterio because Dominic's betrayed her. Why not have the intergender match and just have Dominic squashed? Dominic is hated, Dominic is booed, and everybody would love it. In a transition where Rhea Ripley has pretty much gone to babyface in 2024 anyways, this would solidify that position perfectly. And the fact then, if Damian Priest, also another person who's been flirting with being kicked out of the Judgment Day, if he's kicked out as well by, say, I don't know, Finn Balor, JD and McDonough and Carlito, perhaps all of a sudden we've got an opportunity for maybe a Bad Blood. We can have a mixed tag team match, for example, where we have Damian and Rhea going against the new formation of a Judgment Day. For the fact as well that Jey Uso wants Rhea Ripley's number, maybe Jey gets in on the action as well, and we can have a 6-person tag team match. You can then go to do a rematch once again with Liv and Rhea for the championship. Liv could find a way to escape. Then from that point onwards, we've got to start to think about the Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber. Like you say, there are good ways then that we can build that championship match for WrestleMania. And funnily enough, you do mention Becky Lynch. She could be due to return in the equation around that time period, and she is going to have some words for Liv Morgan as well, since the fact that, well, Dominic was the reason that Liv Morgan won that championship at King and Queen of the Ring earlier this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if all three of those were in a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Next question coming from Pierre Paul says, do you think Liv Morgan is doing the best run of her career with Dom and Rhea Ripley? Yes. Quite simply, Liv Morgan is having the best run of her career right now. Before, you would have said 2022, the moment she won Money in the Bank, the moment that she cashed in and won the SmackDown Women's Championship. That was a payoff and a reward for all the fan base that had got behind her for a solid 12 months of being the underdog in every situation. The problem that was wrong with Liv Morgan's run in 2022 after that, there was nothing to follow on. There was no plan, there was no direction, no character development, to the point that really her championship run kind of faded away, and a lot of people were disappointed by it. If you fast forward now to 2024, obviously she still has that fan base strongly behind her, but I think a lot of people now are more willing to accept the fact that she's actually better off as a heel. The moment that she put Rhea Ripley on the shelf and started the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour, she's gone out and she's taken what she's wanted. She's shown direction and she's shown purpose each and every week. Even winning the Women's World Championship, that has not changed. She has got purpose, and with that purpose has come character development. She wants to take Dominic Mysterio away from Rhea Ripley. She wants to take the Judgment Day away as well, and she's working on a purpose of doing that. And if she wins at SummerSlam, like I predicted in the previous question, and it continues on till WrestleMania, she can have a very long and healthy run as the Women's World Champion. And I think as well, it would be exciting television playing out on WWE TV as well. So definitely, this has worked really, really well. And to be honest, it's been a, I don't want to say happy accident, because someone's been injured. Rhea Ripley was on the shelf. She had to give away that Women's World Championship, but certainly it's given us a very intriguing storyline going forward, and one that I think could continue for a number of months regardless of the result of SummerSlam. Eric Douglas in with some questions for us now. Do I think that Liv Morgan will find her way back after she loses the Women's World Championship? Eric is predicting that will happen at Bad Blood. Do y'all believe We know what he's saying there. And question 3, with the reports that Jamie Hayter is getting pitched storylines, how would you have her return? Firstly, do I believe? Yes, I believe in Joe Hendry. If you want to know how much, I recommend to check out my Slammiversary predictions, which are available on the channel right now. As for Liv Morgan, that's probably the big question for her, by the way, is what happens when she loses the Women's World Championship. In my personal opinion, I think it will be fine. I think she'll be okay. Like I said, there's a lot of character development coming from her, and I think when she gets to the other side, she may be a part of a group with Judgment Day, so that actually helps move forward as a group together, or she's drafted over to SmackDown and she can start a new purpose, a new tour over on the Blue brand. Certainly there's a lot of focus on her character, and I think for the quite long distant future, she's got no problems. So I think she's going to be fine, and she's got the potential to stick around in the top division in WWE, in my personal opinion. Lastly, as for Jamie Hayter, personally, if it was up to me, she would return at All In at Wembley Stadium. Of course, being from the UK, from Southampton, not too far away, it's a bit of a drive, but not too far away from London, would be an amazing place to see her return. For me, she has to go for Toni Storm when she returns, doesn't she? In that case, with Toni being so over as a babyface, maybe she teams up with Mariah May to try and take the title away from Toni. The fact that Toni used the numbers game with the Outcasts back in the day when Jamie Hayter was put on the shelf at Double or Nothing last year, that could make sense to try and put the numbers game on Toni Storm instead, but the other way around. Question is though, what about Britt Baker? Because obviously that's the friendship that was there before. For me, Baker is currently a babyface. If I'd have Hayter return as a heel, or perhaps the initial babyface buzz of return at Wembley, maybe the stare down, maybe an initial all-out match, maybe where she could lose, maybe sparks the heel turn, I think that would be the best way and best path to go down. And when Hayter then becomes a heel, whether she gets the job done against Toni or not, that's then we can start building a direction of what's going on with Britt Baker, because obviously Baker and Hayter have got a lot of history as a tandem together. Both have been on the show for a long time. If one has not been checking in on the other, that could be a good excuse for one to turn on the other, and obviously Hayter to be the heel and Britt Baker to be the babyface. That's personally how I would book it. Bama Slammer of our next question for us now. If the rumours are true and we're getting 2 mid-card titles for the women on Raw and SmackDown, do you have any reservations about that watering down the top titles? And was Kalani the right choice for the NXT Women's North American Championship? Really good question, this one. I think it depends on how these championships are going to be booked. If I start with talking about the NXT side of things, I really enjoyed the way it's been brought in, because a lot of these fresher faces that have come into our screens in the last 12 months or so are not ready for the NXT Women's Championship. They'll just be another notch on Roxanne Perez's belt. With the signings that are going to be coming in as well, the likes of Julia, Stephanie Vaquer as well, that top section of the NXT Women's division seems pretty covered. So for the rest of the women, what to do in the meantime? Yes, you can have all these personal rivalries, but you don't get the experience of holding championship gold. It's hard to get to that next level. With a mid-card championship, you can take someone, put it on them, and they have that feeling of the confidence of the company putting faith in you, what it's like to be a champion. You get that experience behind you, so that when you drop that championship, you should hopefully be ready for the next level. Is Kalani Jordan the right choice to be the first champion? I suppose time will tell. As an in-ring performer, she's very good. I'm enjoying her work so far, and as champion, she's had some good matches, particularly Sol Ruka at Heatwave, I thought was a fantastic encounter. Time will tell if it'd be the right one for that, but for that sort of division, it's worked really, really well, and that's what I want to see on Raw and SmackDown. The right people that are not ready for those world titles at the moment have got something they can focus and fight for. Yes, there's the women's tag team titles. That's probably a different entity compared to NXT. However, I think when you look at the likes of, say, Zelina Vega, for example, new NXT call-ups like Kiana James, maybe a Blair Davenport, maybe someone that's a new signing that's perhaps expected to be a big deal but not quite going to be pushed as the women's champion immediately, someone like Jade Cargill, those people are perfect for those championships. Maybe people in Damage Control, Kairi Sane, Dakota Kai. Do you know what? I'd even take Io Sky as a tweener. I don't see it as that top level, even though she's one of my favourite wrestlers in the women's division. I don't see her going immediately back into the top championship scene. So therefore, I think it's good of having those sort of people in and around feuding with each other, while people like Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, we've got Becky Lynch when she returns, Charlotte Flair when she returns, those sort of people in and around the top scene, and Liv Morgan, of course, like we've mentioned already, and Bayley, who are your current champions. And Triple H likes to have long-term world champions as well, not all these titles just flip-flopping all the time. So I think it could be a good thing, especially for those people that are probably not really got a chance of getting the World Championship on a Raw or SmackDown right now. This helps them build that experience in the same way that we're seeing in NXT, and hopefully on the other side, they are seen further up the ladder. Maybe they could get themselves into a top championship picture. But if you want to know more of my thoughts about mid-card championships coming to WWE, there is a video that will be coming at the end of this video that you can click on, and you can go and see about the mid-card championships, hopefully coming to WWE. Also, special shout out to Bama Dave as well. I appeared on his channel as well with this or that series that he does. Go and check it out. It's a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. It's also available on audio platforms as well as Twitch. Jesse Perez asking, what's your favourite match of all time in any company and era? My favourite match of all time, any company, any era, is WrestleMania 28 WWE End of an Era, Undertaker vs Triple H with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. 4 WrestleManias this storyline took place in, culminating in this Hell in a Cell match. Of course, Shawn Michaels first off trying to end the streak at 25, losing his career at 26, Triple H looking to get revenge at 27 with Taker being stretched out, and of course 28 was the Hell in a Cell match. All the drama, all the will this happen, because Shawn Michaels as the referee just made it believable this Undertaker streak could finally end. I will never forget the moment that Shawn Michaels gives in, hits the sweet chin music, Triple H hits the pedigree, Shawn Michaels counts 1, counts 2, Taker kicks out at the last second, the place in Florida explodes, and the way Shawn Michaels dives to the corner, unbelievable. The fact that he doesn't count the 3 count, and the fact that he got himself involved in the match as well, just is a moment I will never forget. And particularly as well, the way that the match finishes, Triple H knows he's done, says like, just finish me off, and the fact as well, all 3 of them had that big WrestleMania moment, all hugging, walking out together at the top of the ramp at the end. For me, it's just everything about sports entertainment, wrestling, hardcore violence as well, storytelling, drama, all rolled into one. It's the perfect representation of what I enjoy most as a wrestling fan. Let me know your favourite matches though in the comments below. It'll be interesting to know what your favourite is. Next question comes from Robbie Collins from Turnbuckle Talk Zone. For how much women's wrestling specifically has changed for the better over the years? How much have you enjoyed women's wrestling now compared to what it was like years ago? So much more, because I think the fact is nowadays there's more opportunities, there's more equality, main events are handed out to the women, they get to do match types that they never used to get to do. You talk about the Royal Rumble, you talk about, you know, Elimination Chamber and all the special gimmick matches we've seen introduced over the years as well. Money in the Bank, Hell in a Cell. This stuff would never have happened back in the day, even when you think back to, you know, 6-7 years ago when it all sort of first started for the women's division. It's so much better now, and the talent pool is just getting better and better and better, and it really makes you wonder where the women's division is going to be in another 5 years from now. The only thing that I think could make it better nowadays is to have Evolution every year, a once a year women's pay-per-view, because the inspiration it would do for the younger generation watching, I think, would be amazing, especially when we know what women's wrestling was back in the day. 2-minute squash matches, finding it hard to get over, bikini contests and bra and panties matches, pillow fights, you know, wrestling in mud. That's the stuff that you used to have to watch back in the day, which, you know, let's be fair, had its demographic perhaps for its time period, but it was degrading for a lot of the women that were doing it. They didn't like doing it, and to be fair, you look back at it, you cringe watching it over now. So personally, I think it's in a much better place now than what it was back then. There was obviously some breakout and good matches as well back then. Obviously, you wouldn't get your big stars that have been legends throughout the years, the likes of Alundra Blaze, for example, Trish Stratus, Lita, people that could break the mold and break through. Mickey James being another one. You know, we did sort of get through that through the different eras, but only in the last sort of 8 to 10 years have we really seen what women's wrestling can give us, and we've now finally had WrestleMania main events as well, only 2 to this point, and I'm a proponent as well. I want to see at least one every year. I understand it's not easy every year, because hey, we want to see lots of people have a WrestleMania main event, and there's only 2 that you can get per year, so I do understand that. But personally, I think women's wrestling now is in a much better and healthier position, and personally I can only see it getting better as the years go forward. And also quickly, just to give a special shout out to Robbie as well from Turnbuckle Talk Zone. I appeared on his channel earlier this week talking all things WWE. Make sure to go and check it out. I will leave the link in the description below, same as what I will do for Bama Dave as well. Go and check out both of those videos and support them as well on their platforms. They're doing fantastic work with what they're doing. Last question, ladies and gentlemen, coming from Booking Like a Mark. It's time for the main event. With John Cena's impending retirement and his quest for a 17th World Championship, do you feel the NXT Championship qualifies as a world title? And is there a chance Cena has a short run in NXT in his final year? A fantastic question, this one, and thinking right outside the box as well. For me personally, an NXT Championship is a World Championship. However, I don't think it would have the same feeling. It doesn't feel right if you're going to break the record to do it with the NXT Championship. A short run in NXT, yes, when you want to do it. I don't know what NXT's plans are. Are they going to stay where they are, where they probably have 100 people every week, or are they going to start going on the road a bit more? Because that would be the way I would bring John Cena into NXT if you wanted to, because it's there to bump a rating, and also it's to make more ticket sales, because when Cena's on the show, those ticket prices can go a lot more expensive, and I think a lot of people would pay for it as well to see John Cena perform. I personally feel that I would keep John Cena on a Raw and SmackDown free agent. The fact that he hasn't got to be drafted to one show, so therefore the opportunity to have all matches on the table are there. I think a sporadic appearance in NXT could work, but I personally wouldn't go for the NXT Championship. Alternatively, you could say that it could be John Cena's purpose for coming back and having the retirement tour is to get magic number 17, because that's why you're there for. And if he can't get the job done on Raw SmackDown, maybe the desperation can be there, and that's why he should turn his attention towards NXT. But I suppose the big question of everything is, should John Cena even win a 17th World Championship? Because I think that's a divisive question for a lot of people. A lot of people are probably happy to see that he's tied with Ric Flair. A lot of people that are probably big John Cena fans want to see the moment happen, probably as much as the question that would be asked if John Cena should have a heel turn, but I don't think that one is going to happen. I'll say that nice and quickly. For me personally, does John Cena break the record? Honestly, truthfully, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he does, but for me, I would turn around and say that I think I want to see it happen, because yes, WWE owns a lot of the footage and library to Ric Flair's past glories, for example NWA, WCW, which is where most of those World Championships happened, not in WWE. John Cena has been WWE through and through. That competition wasn't there at that point. John Cena could be the one that stands out and says, I have 17 World Championships in WWE. And of course, the one he's not held currently is the NXT World Championship, which of course takes your question full circle. But for me, I would like to see John Cena win that title. Personally, for me, I don't want it to be the NXT Championship. And I personally, although it's classed as a world title, you can go for it with Money in the Bank. You can challenge it in previous history from winning Royal Rumbles to go into WrestleMania. I personally don't think Cena should go down that route, but that's my feeling personally. And that's all the questions. Thank you all so much for everyone that has got involved, and thank you to all of you as well watching. Really do appreciate you checking out this Q&A. The live Q&A format will be back from next Wednesday, ladies and gents. Myself and Too Sweet Carl from On the Mark Wrestling Podcast will be doing a live Q&A SummerSlam 2024 special. Make sure to all join us for that episode. If you've enjoyed the pre-recorded old Q&A format, then please let me know in the comments below. Maybe it's something that I can look to try and bring back as well, perhaps on occasion for you. But if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button as well. That's another way to let me know you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and also share with a friend. Let them know SCW is here. But if you want to see more videos in the meantime, check out the side of the screen right now. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you for the next video.